So there's this incredible burden on us, this incredible responsibility that Jesus himself gave us to go and to make disciples. And what we want is a formula to say, all you do is say this prayer and you go to church this many times and you give this much money and then you're a good disciple. And that's not necessarily the case. It means you're a good churchgoer and a good church member and a good church attender. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good disciple, because a good disciple makes other disciples. So now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Paul is saying, I don't care if you're the best preacher in the world and you can preach and just thousands of people come and they get saved. I don't care if that's what you are. I don't care if you can speak in all kinds of tongues and people are impressed with you and they think, wow, this person is really cool. I don't care about that. I don't care if you have all the knowledge in the world and you're just the smartest person. I don't care if you have faith that can move mountains. I don't care about any of that, because if you don't love, then your life means nothing. And you've done nothing with your life because you don't love people. We're talking about making your life count. We're talking about having a life of significance. And what keeps coming back is love people. It keeps coming back. Serve people. It keeps coming back. Make disciples. Build relationships. Get to know people, because that's the only thing. That's the only thing that matters. Because if all you do is preach and somebody prays a prayer and then they end up in church and for 27 years, 30 years, 80 years, and they don't know anything, they haven't grown at all, they're just sitting there, then you haven't created anything. Somebody just prayed a prayer and decided to go to church because they thought it made them good. Jesus says, go and make disciples. He says, go and build relationships with people so that in turn they can go and build relationships with other people. If all Jesus did with his 12 disciples was say, here, I want you to pray this prayer, and then, go to synagogue all the time, and make sure you observe all the sacrifices and all the everything that you're supposed to be doing. If that's all he did, then the gospel would have stayed right there in Jerusalem and would have died when the last disciple died. How can I help solve this problem? And the answer is, you go and you make disciples. You build relationships with people. You let them look at you, Paul says, watch me, follow me as I follow Christ. Imitate me as I'm an imitator of Christ. And what we do is we live our lives for the least of these. We feed the hungry. We give water to the thirsty. We clothe the naked. We shelter the homeless. We do these things, and other people say, why are you doing that? And you say, it's because I love Jesus. It's because I want people to know who Jesus is. And then they come alongside and they're like, wow, that begins to mean something to me. That begins to change the way that I think. It begins to change the way that I see things. I want to follow Jesus too, and now you have a disciple, and you say, come and follow me, come and watch what I do as we go along through life together. And we make a difference in the world, and we create other disciples who are going to create other disciples who are going to create other disciples who are going to create other disciples.
Give us clean hands, give us your hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another.